5 secrets you should keep from family after 65 for a more peaceful life. Have you ever noticed something strange happens when you start opening up more with family after 65? You do it from a place of love, wanting connection, hoping for closeness. But instead of calm, things often get complicated. It's not that your family doesn't love you. They do. It's that love in later life comes wrapped in layers, expectations, opinions, emotions. For years I believed honesty was the glue that held us together, that sharing everything would prove trust and build stronger bonds. But over time, I learned something quieter and wiser. Not every truth needs to be spoken aloud, not because we're hiding, but because peace becomes precious in this season of life and worth protecting. So today, let us talk, not preach, about 5 things I've come to realize are better kept to yourself after 65. These aren't secrets out of shame. They're choices made in wisdom. And if you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling drained or wishing you'd just kept quiet, then this message is for you. Before we begin, if you're here because you're looking to live these years with more calm, clarity, and quiet strength, you're in the right place. This space is built for thoughtful, wise souls like you. Take a moment to subscribe so we can keep growing this community together. Now let us begin with the first and one of the most important truths to hold gently: your full financial picture. Talking about money with family often starts with good intentions. You want to be clear, responsible, maybe even generous. But once you open that financial curtain, things can shift in ways you never expected. Take Martin, for example. He's 81 now, a retired engineer who always managed his money wisely. Thinking he was doing the right thing, he sat down with his adult sons and laid it all out: savings, pension, house deed, future plans. He hoped it would bring clarity and relief. Instead, it opened a door he couldn't close. Suddenly, his sons had opinions on everything: where he should live, how he should spend, whether he needed help managing it all. It was said with love, yes. But over time, Martin felt like he was no longer in control of his own life. Every purchase, even a new chair or weekend getaway, sparked unsolicited advice. It wasn't peace, it was pressure. Here is the truth: sharing your full financial details too early, even with family, can unintentionally shift the balance. You may find your freedom shrinking under the weight of concern, even judgment. And in some cases, distant relatives may suddenly appear, not for you, but for what you might leave behind. You've earned your privacy, not as a wall, but as a way to protect your peace. You don't owe anyone your balance sheets. You don't have to explain why you bought a new TV or donated to a cause that moves your heart. What you've built is yours, and the right time to share it is when it truly matters, not when it invites unnecessary noise. Now let's talk about something even more personal: your health. It feels natural to share how we're feeling with the people we love. A sore back, a dizzy spell, a night of poor sleep. We think, they care, they'll want to know, and often they do. But what we don't always see is how that information lands. To you, a comment like, "My knees are acting up again," might be small talk. But to your children or grandchildren, it can feel like an alarm bell. Suddenly they're worried. They call more often. They question your choices. And before you know it, you were being gently nudged or outright pushed into a version of life that doesn't feel like your own. That's what happened to Claire. At 76, she's independent, full of energy, walking her terrier each morning and volunteering at the library. One day, after a weekend of yard work, she mentioned to her daughter that her shoulders were sore. That one comment turned into physical therapy appointments, daily check-ins, and gentle but constant suggestions that she scale back her independence. All from love, but also from fear. Here's the subtle truth: when you overshare every small ache, you may unintentionally invite a narrative that doesn't match your reality. You become seen less as capable and more as fragile. That shift can quietly erode your freedom and your confidence. You know your body. You know the difference between a passing discomfort and a real concern. Speak when it matters, but protect your right to live without being micromanaged by worry. Because sometimes, holding back isn't denial, it's dignity. Let's move into even trickier territory, family conflicts. At this stage in life, you've witnessed your fair share. Sibling disagreements, tension over money, misunderstandings between in-laws, old wounds that resurface at the worst times. And as someone older, wiser, it's tempting to step in, to mediate, to offer the voice of experience. But here's the lesson. The more you say, the more you risk. Silence in these moments isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Miriam, a friend of mine, learned this the hard way. She's 80, thoughtful, the kind of woman whose opinion carries weight. One afternoon, while chatting with her daughter, she gently suggested that her grandson could start putting away his toys. Nothing harsh, just a soft nudge. But that one sentence changed everything. Her daughter grew distant, the calls slowed, the warmth cooled. What was meant as support felt like criticism, and the space between them never fully healed. This happens more often than we admit. You mean to help, but others hear judgment. You offer advice, but it feels like taking sides. Even the kindest comment can echo louder than intended. And once you're seen as part of the conflict, it's hard to step back. So here, as a powerful truth, you don't have to attend every disagreement you were invited to. You can love deeply without stepping into every storm. Sometimes the most loving words are, "I trust you to work it out," or simply, "I'm here if you need me." That kind of restraint isn't detachment, it's grace. You're not turning away, you're choosing peace, for them and for you. Now we arrive at something quieter than conflict, but often heavier: regrets. Everyone carries them. Missed chances, dreams set aside, roads not taken. And sometimes we voice them aloud, thinking we're just reflecting, just sharing. But here's what I've learned. Some reflections are better kept sacred. Take Norma. She's 79, a retired teacher who gave everything to her family. One afternoon, during a walk with her youngest daughter, she softly said, "Sometimes I wish I hadn't let go of my dream to travel." A simple, honest musing. But to her daughter, it landed like a wound. She later confessed it felt like her mother was saying, "You weren't worth the sacrifice." That's the tricky thing about regrets. We share them from a place of reflection, but they can be heard as disappointment, even when that's the furthest thing from our intent. There's another layer too. When we speak too often about the past, what didn't happen, what we missed, people may begin to see us as stuck there. They might pull away, thinking you're no longer living in the present, that your best days are behind you. But that's not the truth. You are still here, still growing, still wise. So instead of saying, "I wish I had," try this: "I've learned a lot from the life I've lived." That shift honors your journey, without casting shadows on those who shared it with you. It frames your story with grace, not regret. In the end, your peace doesn't come from rewriting the past. It comes from accepting it, holding it gently, and protecting the space around your heart. So ask yourself this: what truths are worth sharing, and which are worth holding close? Not because they're secrets, but because they're sacred.